Joined now by the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Don, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Jim. How are you?
Doing fine. Both of us getting back from weekend road trips. You were in College Park, Maryland, the site of Indiana's 68-55 road win and their second Big Ten road win. But they looked pretty daggone good in this one. They didn't leave much doubt.
No, it was a really impressive performance. I was scared to death of this Maryland team because they had played they beat Illinois by 16, 17 points leading up to this ball game, and they beat Rutgers on the road at Rutgers, which everybody knows that's almost an impossible place to win these days. And they had played two of their best basketball games of the season. I was anticipating that this is going to be a real tussle for this Indiana ball club, and Indiana came out after an 8-0 early lead for Maryland. They just dominated the rest of the ball game, and Indiana played terrific at both ends of the floor. Had great inside play from Race and Trace. Both those guys played terrific. All of a sudden, we're getting 3-point shooting from Race Thompson, who has hit his last 4 threes. Talk about a team that's on fire in that regard. And of course, they were 10 of 13 against Penn State leading up to that game from 3-point land. So it was really an impressive win. I was excited to see Indiana play like they did in that matchup. There's no question that Indiana is starting to play some of their best basketball here at the season. And I think one of the reasons is because of Xavier Johnson. This guy, he didn't shoot the ball well against Maryland at all, but he still did all the other things. He had 9 assists in the ball game, didn't turn the ball over but twice. His turnover ratio was terrific. When you look at this team, and you're going to have to have this out of Xavier Johnson right now with Rob Finney being out. You've got to have great decision making and getting the ball where it needs to go. And certainly with X's play here in the last 3-4 ball games now, you've seen that. This is a ball club right now that's playing up to their capability, in my opinion. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to get beat, because there are some teams out there that are playing terrific basketball, but they've got a week to kind of get back healthy again, whether it's all health or issues or whatever the case may be. But they've got a week here to maybe rest up a little bit after not having any kind of a break since the holidays.
Charlie Miller, you're with us now. Absolutely. You would know better to that than I would.
No. I mean, Don knows too. Don's been around the game. I think we all know. No, what I'm most excited about, fellas, good morning, by the way, is this. Trey Galloway, how about him attacking the rim?
Yeah.
Ray, how about him knocking down shots? And I think Trey's
4 of 5
great line attacks are because Race is now commanding attention. I mean,
Right.
When you get that, and with Geronimo, who's always had a great mid-range shot, he's making that shot. They're attacking. This Jim, to me, about 3 weeks ago, we were like, okay, have they found their identity? I think we found it, and it's the X factor, pun intended. And I think it was the streaky play of his that we weren't used to as a point guard. But you don't go from averaging 16 points to not attacking. You're not doing that. Okay, that's what he did at Pitt. That's what he's doing now, and it's paying dividends.
Yeah,
It's opening up.
You're right. I mean, I put what Indiana's been able to accomplish here in the last couple of weeks. I put it right at the feet of Xavier Johnson.
Yes.
His decision making is so much better than it was. He's obviously been able to shoot the ball pretty well. He didn't in the Maryland game, but you're going to have a game or two like that. He's not a superstar shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but for the most part, he's not forcing anything. And
Right.
that's one of the things he was struggling with before. He would try to take games over sometimes when really it wasn't necessary, in my opinion. And that said, the game has slowed down for him. Mike has said that a couple of times now, that the game has kind of slowed down for him. He's starting to figure out his teammates. It does take time. It's a process. You wanted it to happen. You wanted it to happen a lot sooner than it did. But all of a sudden, it seemed they seem to be clicking. This whole ball club seems to be clicking right now. And the bench play has gotten a lot better here of late. Galloway, as you pointed out, has been terrific. Geronimo's been really, really good. You've had other people step up. Obviously, Christian Lander gets some playing time for the first time this year in Big Ten play. He previously, I don't think the last time he played a game was back in mid to late December, December 22nd or something like that. Merrimack, I can't remember, but that's the last time he actually played some minutes on the floor, and he comes into the ball game, and even though he got 4 fouls, he got a little foul trouble there, actually he did a pretty good job and knocked down a couple of shots. So honestly, this team is starting to find itself. And this little break that they've got this week leading up to Illinois this coming Saturday, I think it's necessary because I think these guys are a little bit tired right now. They've been fighting through a little bit of some injuries and bumps and bruises, that kind of thing. I think this is a really good time for this Indiana basketball team to kind of get healthy again and be rested a little bit.
Yeah, what perfect timing, Don, to get this week off. You've got Illinois coming in. But there cannot be a team in America, and maybe there isn't, I've missed them, but the inside presence that Indiana has right now with Race and Trace. Race Thompson is a first-team Big Ten. If Trace Jackson is not on this team, he's first-team Big Ten candidate right now. And at worst, he's second-team, period. You cannot get double-double after double-double in this league and not be considered one of the best big men that's in the league. And he's got Trace Jackson Davis next to him, who's also one of the best. So right. He's not – I'm not saying he's not getting the credit he's due. Maybe he is or isn't, but he has been the linchpin all season for this team because he's been doing this almost all season and continues to do it no matter what.
Well, and the other thing about that, and then he's added the three-point shooting to his repertoire. I mean, if he continues to do that consistently well, you talk about a guy that's absolutely helping this team open up the floor and giving Trace even more opportunities, which, at this point, I'm sure the rest of the league would not like to see that happen. But I just, you just have to be excited for what you've seen here this past week, especially. The three-point shooting by Race Thompson has been terrific. He's 4 for 4. I think 5 of his last 6 have gone down.
And he was 3 of 27 prior to that for like 10% or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the other thing. And I think this kind of speaks to what Mike Woodson has tried to do with these guys. He has told them, I want you to shoot the basketball if you're open. If you're open, I want you to shoot it. And honestly, the only person that hasn't, those words haven't fallen on in a way that's changed it. Well, Parker, but at the same time, I mean, Trace Jackson Davis is still not shooting outside shots, period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's got to change for him. He's got to start knocking down some outside shots. But all that said, all of a sudden you've got a three-point shooter that's 6'8" out there that hasn't taken many in the past, and now he's knocking those things down. Now you've got somebody else you have to deal with, and that just changes the game defensively for a lot of these basketball teams that Indiana's going to face.
And Charlie, speaking of that, Illinois is up next. That's going to create a very difficult defensive challenge for them. Yeah, they have Kofi Coburn, but Indiana's got Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson, as Don just pointed out, and Race is moving all over the place, causing havoc.
Well,
what does that do to a team having a guy like Race Thompson?
Those are scary hours. I'm going to tell you why. Because now you can put Race on the strong side in the corner on the wing when Trace is posting up. You can't help because Race is also a good person at the rim. He plays above the rim. Then you got your shooters on the weak side, where if you try to double team, and Trace is pretty good at the skip pass. I mean, you got a pretty good spread, which is going to me, the closer you play anybody on closeouts, the more lanes you have to drive. And we're already a really good athletic front court. We can get up to rebound the ball. We can keep the plays alive after misses. That's scary. That's really scary. And you said it earlier, Jim. I think the only team that rivals our front court may be like a top 2-3 Gonzaga. That's just my opinion, my assessment. right? I might be a little biased. I probably wore a little red and white before, but man, those guys are athletic. I'm just always saying four little words every time I see all those guys go up. I'm like, man, I like those. I mean, it's ridiculous how easy they look. They make dunks. They just go up and just dunk it like it's nothing. I mean, we got a really good front court, and I'm hoping that Race can continue to play just for him. He's the Robin, man. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, he won't get a lot of credit because Trace commands a lot of attention because he's a potential All-American like he is. But man, Race is doing a great job of coming into his own game in his own zone, owning his zone, and that's what I love to see.
I think the other guy too that we don't talk about him as much, but he continues to impress, and that's Jordan Geronimo. That's another frontline guy that he can come off the bench and give you really positive minutes out there. He had 8 rebounds in that ball game. I mean, when you look at this basketball team, it's not a one-man show by any stretch of the imagination, and you're getting really good point guard play now out of Xavier. You're getting guys coming off the bench like Galloway and Geronimo that are giving you positive things from their perspective. You've got the bigs inside and Trace and Race now hitting 3-point shots. I mean, there's so many things now that you have to deal with this Indiana basketball team. I think other coaches are probably going to be staying up nights trying to figure this thing out.
Fellas, I wanted to say one more thing that you guys said, and I just want to give a player's perspective, former player. When a coach tells you in confidence, shoot it, you don't understand the magnitude. I don't know if people understand that. That's relaxed aggression. Now that's scary for coaches to game plan against because now everybody's eyes light up when they catch it. No longer can you sag off because they know they can't do wrong, and I'm not coming out for missed shots. Not saying that was Archie's case. I'm not saying that. But when a coach gives you confidence, guys, that's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Well, and he has shown that not just in the shooting,
right,
but go to Rob Fennessey's case and just the confidence of playing his overall game. He has done nothing, Don, but try to give this team the confidence that they seem like they had lost in themselves as a team and all that. It may have taken him a few months, but it looks like that is gone. And we're looking at the results. They're playing pretty damn well together, and there's no reason not to expect that will continue to improve.
Well, that's the big story right there. Can they continue to improve? Can they get better at what they're doing right now? And obviously, to win that ball game at Maryland on the road, just your second true road win of the year, that's huge for the confidence level as well. And now you've got a couple of days to rest here, get guys back healthy again if they're not 100% at this point. Obviously, we don't know what Fennessey's status will be come Saturday, but hopefully he can get back playing again and help this ball club also. But there's so many positives going on right now with this basketball team. Indiana fans got to be really excited, and they should be.
Indiana is currently 6th, I guess you'd say, in the Big Ten right now, but they're only 2 games back of league leading Wisconsin and Illinois, who they play this week. So they can cut. We're talking about Indiana being within 2 games of the lead and potentially a game of the lead after this weekend. Not that I'm thinking about a Big Ten championship this year, but the fact that they are within reach of that is almost crazy at this point from where we were just 2 months ago.
Well, and I think the one thing you have to remember here is that this ball club, when they got together this year, they have the transfers, they're trying to incorporate a different style of play, all the things that a first-year coach has to do to get your ball club ready. If you do the right things start to come together as the season progresses. And honestly, that's what we're seeing right now. If you've got the right people in the right places and you've got guys understanding how important they are to the program, how important they are to the team, and the things that you believe they can do. And again, we're talking about that confidence factor that Mike has tried to instill in these players. It's a great recipe for a ball club that struggled and has had their moments this year of negativity. Obviously, the Michigan game being one of those. But to bounce back from that ball game and to win these past two, after you've given up, after that Michigan blowout that you suffered, that's telling you that this team is pretty resilient too in its thinking process. So there's not too much you can say negative right now about this Indiana basketball team, and if they continue to progress, this team's going to be something to deal with as the season moves forward.
Yeah, they already have 16 wins on the season. If they've got Illinois at home, and then you have to travel to Northwestern, which there are no easy games. I don't care who you play. Northwestern beat Michigan State and East Lansing, but if they can get those two in, you get 18 wins with 4 games left to play. They're on a roll. They've got to play Michigan State yet, but they get Wisconsin at home. You've got to go to Ohio State, and then you finish with Maryland. Or no, actually, they'll finish at Purdue. I forgot about that one. But,
Purdue, yeah.
But they're playing well. Even if they were to go to Purdue and lose, they're playing well right now, and they're playing as a team. They're playing the way that the fans need to see them play. But more importantly, going into the end of the season, Don.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting run here at the end. There's no question about it. Probably their toughest portion of their schedule is upcoming here in the next couple of weeks. They've got 5 straight ball games that they could lose them all. I mean, that's who they're playing. The teams that they're playing, they could get beat in every one of those ball games where they're playing in those kinds of things. But right now, you've got to feel really positive about what you're seeing from this Indiana basketball program.